So thank you guys all so much for being here today. Sabrina, if you don't mind just going to the next slide. A little bit about how you can participate today. So there's two functions I want to point out, and I'm sure most of you have heard me do this spiel before, but don't worry, on your end, you're muted automatically and there's no video, so no distractions coming in from there. But we would love for you to participate as much as you can. So the chat box is the best place to do that virtually. All I want to just warn you that the to function, it says all panelists, normally Zoom automatically puts it to all panelists. So just change that to all panelists and all attendees so that you make sure the greater group sees your comments. Feel free to use that throughout the session and add any comments while Sabrina's talking. But if you have any questions for her, which I highly recommend you take advantage of, we're going to put a big chunk of our time at the end just to answer your guys' questions. Please do put all of those in the Q&A box. That way that I can go through them, and if you put your questions in the chat, they'll most likely get lost. If you have any sort of technical difficulties, feel free to raise your hand and then I will chat you privately to make sure everything's going okay. All right, next slide. Quick reminder, this event is being recorded, so we will send you a recording of it afterwards. That'll come within about 24 hours. We'll also be sending out our feedback form. Please do take a second to fill that out. It means a lot to us to be able to see how we can improve these events as we go forward. A quick little shameless plug to please follow us on our social media accounts on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, because we are always posting about new events and things that are happening, as well as our learnings from the events that we have. So we try to post different things from all the events. So in case you miss an event, you can still see the fun like learnings from it. All right. Next slide. Oh yeah, I'm not done with my shameless plugs. Okay, one more. The 2030 movement is coming up. So that is 1 week in September. We have a whole bunch of free events, but a bunch of free workshops that we're offering as well. That is across, being put together with our Australia team. So it's APAC wide. There's a whole bunch of great opportunities there to learn a lot of different skills and really hear about what is going to be needed in the next 10 years, the year 2030, which is crazy to think it's coming up. So feel free to scan the QR code there or just visit our website and sign up. All right, I think that's it from me. I am gonna go ahead and pass it over to Emily to talk a little bit about SWN.
Yeah, thanks so much. Hey everyone, my name is Emily. So I'm one of the board members of Singapore Women's Network. I am also based in Singapore at this moment, but we welcome everyone across, APAC and across the world. So basically what we are a forum that we bring professional women together. So we've been around since 2010 and we've established a network that continues to grow and diversify and develop. So we are run by a very small team of volunteers based in Singapore, but we do a bunch of events from like networking, gatherings, social dinners and conferences with female leaders within this space. Obviously with COVID, we've done a lot of our events virtually, so you can definitely feel free to check those out, but eventually when COVID is over, we hope to do these more in person. So our aim is really to empower women of all backgrounds to upskill, learn, and create friendships within our networks. So definitely feel free to check us out. This is our QR code. You can go ahead and scan it, and we have all of our social channels here as well. And we do partner with great organizations such as General Assembly and Half the Sky. So if you are a partner and you want to partner with us in the future, feel free to reach out to us. So yeah. There's my blurb. So I'd like to welcome Sabrina from Half the Sky. I'll hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily and Seema and General Assembly for having me here today. And thank you everybody for joining us. So my name is Sabrina Ho. I'm the founder and CEO of Half the Sky. So Half the Sky is a career platform for diverse talent. We connect female professionals to diversity employers. And right now, a lot of the diversity employees on our platform are still hiring. For example, we have JP Morgan, Credit Suisse, UPS, and DuPont. And we have more companies coming on board, so make sure you check them out. So I have been in the recruitment industry for close to 15 years, and I've built my network for as long as I've been in the industry. As a recruiter, I use my network to recruit and source talent. And as a business owner, I leverage my network to develop my business, raise funds, and to build my personal brand. And I've seen people making mistakes when they build their network, and I certainly make some as well. So for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to share with you 7 tips on how to network successfully, and followed by a Q&A. The global pandemic has changed every aspect of our lives. You know, how we work, socialize, and travel. And it has already caused millions around the world to lose their jobs. And before the crisis is over, like many more people will become unemployed. So from a career perspective, networking has always been an important tool, whether it's finding a new job or building your personal brand to gain a promotion. And networking is very much a human experience. However, the virus has disrupted the traditional approach to networking with the normal routes we use, you know, in-person meetings, coffees, or networking events. And it's very likely we're never going to return to the pre-COVID world of networking. And our challenge is adapting to the new normal of networking, which can be luckily done from the comfort of your couch, and open us up the borderless world of the internet. And the good news is, in today's digital world, we have the ability to reach just about anyone, anywhere. And also, you may ask, why networking is so important? Well, number one, your network is your net worth. And also, between 70 to 80% of the jobs are obtained through personal networking. So building a personal network will allow you to access a hidden job market, jobs that are not advertised. So in the following 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through my 7 tips to network successfully. So tip number 1, have an actionable plan. So first, figure out your why. Why are you networking? You want to connect with industry peers so they can provide you with market insights, insider information on specific companies, or even direct referrals. Or you want to connect with hiring managers directly so you can stand out from other job applicants for the same job. Or you actually want to connect to a headhunter so they can find you better job opportunities. Or you're looking for advice or mentors, so you want to build yourself. Sorry, my mic just dropped off. Apologies. Or you're looking for advice or mentor, or you want to build yourself as a thought leader by connecting with influencers in the same space. Or you want to increase sales and do business development. So knowing your goals and outcome you're trying to achieve are extremely important, as it will define and craft your following actions. And after you figure out who you want to network and your goals, let's say you're looking for a job. So first, write down the types of roles and companies you're interested in. Then make an initial contact list. Start with warm contacts first as well. Write down the names of all the people you know professionally, starting from your college and online, ex-colleagues, ex-boss, mentors, and mentees, companies you work with, and those you met in your current workplace. Since there's someone whom you already know, so you can send them a personal and warm note, asking how they're doing, how you can be helpful, and their preferred method for staying in touch during this time. And then ask nicely for a virtual coffee. Tip number 2, build your online presence. So when it comes to your career, your goal is to brand yourself as an expert in your field, the go-to person your friends and connections turn to when they have questions about your industry, and a person who has a lot of valuable information and very willing to share it. So how exactly you can build your brand online, you may ask. So number 1, the first step is to start posting content on a regular basis. And for building professional connections, LinkedIn will be the platform you use and the first place you should post. You can then post the same content on your personal social media page, like your Facebook, Instagram. And some of the posts could be a helpful tip about your area of expertise, or in an article you have written and posted online. You can also share other people's content and posts, which will actually give you an opportunity to thank the writer for their insights and to get acquainted with them. Either way, to everyone who sees your post, you become the person who always has something interesting to share. Second is to look for professional groups to join on LinkedIn, Facebook, and other platforms. Join in the conversation, post and comment, and make yourself visible. And be sure to keep the conversation professional by posting relevant articles and chiming in on topics that allow you to demonstrate your expertise. And also remember to be very mindful and intentional when it comes to building your brand. Everything you post online, every conversation you have contributes to your overall image or your brand. And also, before you post anything, always have these questions in mind and ask yourself, does your social media create an image you want your future employers and professional connections to see? And the final tip on building your online presence is be consistent. Focus on your goals and continuing to grow your understanding of the brand that you're trying to build. So tip number 3, so LinkedIn is the #1 place to build your professional network. And I can't stress enough how important it is. And I'm going to go right into how you can build your personal brand on LinkedIn. And let's start with the basics first. So number 1, if you're looking for opportunities, tell the world about it. Number 2, for your LinkedIn banner, pick a picture or slogan and tell the audience what fascinates you about data science, what fascinates you about UX design, software engineer, or digital marketing. What you see in this industry, have an opinion and a point of view, and that will become a part of your personal brand. And also, add a professional profile picture, a clear headshot, and how can you define, what you're going to wear and where should I be? Take a look around at what the people in your target company, industry sector, or business level are wearing and match that. And also, recently, there's actually a new feature on LinkedIn where you can have a 10-second short recording and introduce yourself. And I think it's a great way to engage with people whom you connect the first time. So utilize that. And finally, write the headline that showcase your special skills, your unique selling point. So the more specific you can be about what sets you apart from your competition, the better. And in the About section on your LinkedIn, ideally, your About section should be around 2 to 3 short paragraphs long, preferably with a bulleted section in the middle. And your About section should walk the reader through your work passion, key skills, quantifiable achievements. So remember, use numbers to quickly build credibility and impress the reader. Your unique qualification and a list of the various industries you have had exposed to over the years. So use this section as an elevator pitch to quickly sell yourself to your target audience and then entice him or her to read the rest of your profile. And also, don't be afraid to show your personalities a little bit. Tell your story of why you want to move into your industry, why you shift your career, what fascinates you about the new industries you want to get into, and what you see in this industry. And also, the final tip is if you use LinkedIn to look for a job, what I will share is keywords. Look at a few JDs of the position you're after, find those common keywords the hiring manager is looking for, and after identifying those keywords, make sure you use them throughout your About section and Experience section. So if you want to know more, I actually did another webinar with General Assembly a while ago, and the recording is on our platform. And here's a great example of how you can convey your professional story authentically. And let's take 2 minutes to read about it, then I'll share with you my thoughts on why I love it. Okay, I hope you guys have enough time to read through it. So first sentence, it's already got me hooked. It's very short, it's very provocative. It really makes me want to read more. Okay, what do you mean by that? And then next, she actually told you a very authentic story on her career switch and also her passion. And finally, she wrapped up her About section with a bunch of keyword-rich skill lists. So the recruiters, the hiring manager can locate her when they're looking for talent for their job. So this is a great example. You can craft your About section. Yeah. And under the feature section on your LinkedIn, which is actually my favorite, because people nowadays are very visual because of social media. And I also love this section because it's a visual, very visual display of who you are and your brand. So make sure you showcase your blog, thought leadership articles, speaking engagement, media presence, portfolio, webinar you host, videos, and presentations. And also in your education, licenses, and certification section, showcase qualification like how many languages do you speak? If you have a, let's say, quantitative analysis certification, put it there. And make sure you put all your volunteer work on your LinkedIn profile as well. Adding these additional profile features is a great way to showcase your unique skills and experiences and stand out from the crowd. And for the recommendation section, ask for your ex-boss, ex-colleagues, business stakeholders to write a recommendation for you on LinkedIn. And when you ask them, be very polite and clear on what you would like them to focus on. You can suggest particular skills or experience you would like them to highlight so it can really showcase your strengths. And also on LinkedIn, which I actually mentioned previously, be aware. You know, your posts, what you like, the comment you make are inconsistent with the brand you're trying to build. This will also actually help you, your LinkedIn algorithm, so that you match and pop up in the feed of the people you're looking to engage with. The key on LinkedIn is to sell yourself, but not oversell yourself. It's an art, not a science. And finally, there's no perfect story, but your true story. And tip number 4, so obviously, LinkedIn is not everything. There are other platforms you can also build your network. And here's 5 you can consider. So number 1, meetup.com. So people use Meetup to organize groups for all kinds of purpose, from professional development to social gathering and sharing hobbies. Number 2 is Eventbrite. You'll find events from casual mixers to formal panel discussions and conferences. Number 3 is Facebook. So take some time to look for the Facebook groups in your area, from general networking groups to groups that cater to your industry. You can discover upcoming local events by joining the Facebook group. People use the groups to share connections, tips, job leads, and countless of other information that can help you move your career forward. And also, remember, interaction is key. It's a give and take on these social platforms. So you need to offer some tips and connections of your own to keep the group moving. And last but not the least, leanin.org and halftheskyAsia.com. So for our female audience, I would highly recommend you to join Lean In and our platform, because both platforms provide events and resources which are created with women issues in mind. And for Half the Sky, we also have job opportunities from diversity employers who provide policies and initiatives for women. And after sharing with you all these strategies, I think the most important step is to take action, which is our tip number 5. So in tip number 1, I've shared with you how to reach out to your warm contacts, you know, people who you already know. And now I'll share with you how to reach out to cold contacts, people you connect with the first time. So when you send an invite to connect to any LinkedIn connections, make sure you send a personalized message when you invite them to connect. So for me, I receive a lot of invites on a daily basis. And I have to say 98% of them, there's no note. They just send me a connection to invite. For me, I've never met you. I don't know you. And I'm not sure the purpose of us connecting. So the chances of me accepting it is a lot lower. And also think about in real life, you know, when you approach someone, would you actually not say hello or anything? You won't, right? And number 2, the golden rule is when you build your connections, make sure you add value before you ever start asking for anything. You know, you do some social sharing for the person you want to connect with, their articles, you know, their work, commenting online, or insightful compliments or comments. And also be clear when you ask and why the person should speak to you when you get in touch with them. And also when you do virtual networking, if your goal is to connect with a hiring manager, the best thing that you could do to get your application noticed and evaluated is to reach out to someone every single time you apply for a position. And that someone can be a friend at the company who's willing to provide a referral, a recruiter that who's working for the company that you're interested in, or the hiring manager themselves. Send them a quick message in LinkedIn and send them an email letting them know that you have applied for a particular position, your passion for the industry, your key interest on the opportunities, and what you can bring to the table. And also, because of the very interesting situation we're in, there's a high chance we're going to attend virtual events for the following half a year. And I'm going to share with you how to connect and build relationships with speakers and panelists, these industry experts. So first, get personally acquainted. So before the event, send them a quick message, telling them how excited you are to attend the event, to listen to their point of view, and to ultimately learn more about the topic at hand. Thank them for participating in the event and tell them that you look forward to learning from them. And second, leave a very good impression by asking the speaker questions during Q&A. So do your research about the industry and about the expertise the speaker specializes in and ask smart questions. When you put down the questions on the chat box or in the Q&A box, reveal your name also so the speaker can remember you. And if the event allows you to switch on your camera and ask the questions directly, even better. Introduce yourself by first sharing your name and your background in one line. Thank the speaker and ask your question. Number 3 is remember to give back. You know, during breaks or after the online event, upload a post about it. Sharing to your community about what you've learned, and always remember to tag those speakers when you post pictures of them. And in a sense, you're actually repaying the speakers for their insights and information by giving them publicity and promoting them to your professional network. And 4th, make sure to follow up after the event. Send them a thank you note on LinkedIn, show gratitude for their time and their expertise, and also share with them your genuine feedback and what you've learned during their webinar. You can also ask a question, let them know you've been spreading their message to your audience, and you can actually also ask for 10 minutes for a video chat or phone conversation. And in my opinion, the chance of you getting that 10 minutes to have a private chat with the speaker will be a lot higher because you have had contact with that person before the event to show your excitement. You have attended the event and made a good impression during the Q&A. You have given back and shared a message with your followers, and you're reaching out to have a chat. Chances are they will be receptive to a conversation. And who knows, 10 minutes can turn into 30 minutes and can turn into an opportunity. So now we're going into our final 2 tips. Tip number 6, build a long-term relationship. So remember, everyone networks to better themselves in some way or another. So make sure you prepare to help someone else get better. And also, people love talking about themselves, and professional networking is no different. So many people go into networking trying to tell you who they are, what they do. It is important to realize this, and even more important to listen. So if you have asked another person for their advice or opinion, make sure they have the chance to offer it. And because your goal is to build initial connection, it is important not go in with a what can I get out of it for myself mentality. And also, nobody should start a networking conversation with, I need a job. Successful networking is about building relationships. So if you want to be successful at networking, you must keep in mind that it really isn't about you. It's about building relationships. And relationships are not one-way streets. It can start with making a list of the possible things you can do for people in your network. Perhaps you can make a connection to an important partner in someone's field, or point to a little noticed but important new research paper. Even small things, if done sincerely and are genuinely meaningful to the other person, it can jumpstart your networking. So last tip of tonight is how to ace your virtual meeting. And in my opinion, because again, the situation we're in, virtual meeting, it's virtual webinar, it's going to be here for quite a long while. So we definitely need to ace it. And also in my opinion, preparing a virtual meeting is no different than in-person meetings. So number one, make sure you do your research on the company, read their company blog, recent news, financial reports, or any other digital platforms that your target employer uses, or the person, which companies they're working for. Because it's a great way to find out about big projects or key problems that the company is looking to solve, or that person's company is going to solve. You may have some perspective or past experience to share, so you are turning the call into a mutually beneficial situation. So you're not just asking for their help, you're offering help of your own as well. And also during the meeting, prepare to ask questions. Number two, communicating to people virtually can be daunting and unnatural. So practice it with your friends virtually for a few times so you can get familiarized with it. And number three, make sure you turn on your video when you speak to your connection, because seeing each other's face will make the conversation a bit more personal and helps create a quicker bond. And also, when we're doing virtual meetings, our energy level will actually increase by 20%. So make sure your tonality, the volume of your voice, your energy level will also increase by 20% as well. And also, one important thing is dress like how you would for a face-to-face meeting. Develop a personal commercial dress code that suits your industry. Number six, test the technology. Make sure you know the functionalities of software that you're going to use. For example, how to mute and unmute your microphone. And number seven, make sure you have perfect internet connections. Number eight, make sure you declutter your background and make sure your background is neat and organized. I think the final point is have good lighting and set your camera at your eye level. So these are the tips I would suggest for your virtual meeting. And to be honest with you, it will increasingly be the new normal. And my final thoughts of today, so I'll share with you a quick stat. So according to LinkedIn, 1 in 8 cold emails receive a response. So what the data tells us is networking virtually, it's just like building relationships in person. It's a numbers game. The more people you contact, the better the results are going to be. It takes time and effort. If it doesn't work out the first time, keep trying and improving your skills. So be patient and persistent. It will eventually pay off. So as mentioned, companies on our platform are still hiring. Make sure you check those jobs out and sign up so you can keep yourself posted on new jobs, free resources, events, and content. So thank you all so much for listening, and I think we can move on to some Q&A. So Seema and Emily, I will pass the mic back to you.
Sure. I'm sorry, my cat has decided that she likes my necklace. So
Don't
she
worry.
pops in. I apologize, but we already have a great number of questions, so please do start, filling them in, and we'll get to as many as we can. Okay, so the first question that was asked by an anonymous person. Hi Sabrina, thanks for your time. How do you reach to mentors that you want to connect with without overbearing them with questions?
As I mentioned, you need to do your research, right? You need to prepare. I'm sure, maybe it's your first time you meet the mentor, you have maybe 20 questions to ask them. But dissect those questions and let's say ask them 5 at the beginning, because normally I don't know, because now you're meeting the mentor virtually, so 30 minutes, 1 hour. Ideally, I think you can ask about 5 to 7 questions. So make sure that's the top questions that you want to ask and listen more. And be very respectful of their time so that you can get a second meeting with them. So leave the rest of the questions in the second meeting and make sure at the end of the meeting, wrap it up with, hey, mentor, can we set another time next month, this date at this time? And you send them a calendar invite.
And speaking on questions, there's another question here that says, any tips or techniques on how to ask smart questions to leave a good impression?
Do your research, as I share in in the sharing just now, because let's say the more you know about the speakers, the more you know about the industry they're in or the business that they're running, the more questions you can ask them. Let's say for me, I run a career platform for women. You can ask me, Sabrina, why you want to start Half the Sky? Why you want to focus on women? So that way, it's like, oh, okay, this person, know about me and my background. I'll pay attention to who that person is. So do your research and ask the questions that they can share more about themselves. Because as I share with you guys, people love talking about themselves and share with everyone who they are and what they do.
All right, that's a great question. So how can we add humor during our networking? A lot of the tips are centered around being formal and professional. Shouldn't we work at disarming each other's so conversations can flow?
Very good question. It's not easy to really manage the funny moment where you can sleep in, especially in this virtual meeting. Really depends. Because if it's the first time you speak to that person, I would say remain very professional. But after maybe a while, 2 months, 3 months, you establish the connections, the relationship, I think you can make some jokes. The first time, remain professional, unless that person is, I don't know, it's in an entertainment industry. So maybe they're comedians, then you can. But I think for all meetings, the golden rule is remain professional, be very respectful, ask smart questions, because they don't have much time for you, but they are willing to give you that 10 minutes, 30 minutes of their time. So utilize that. But I think being nice and being respectful on your first few meetings is way more important than being funny. I understand where that person is coming from, but yeah, we're trying to be a long-term relationship, and sometimes you don't know your joke. Do they find it funny? What if they don't find it funny?
So Rich is asking, what are some of the ways that you can add value to someone you're reaching out to for the first time on LinkedIn? Can you give any examples of that?
I presume that person is asking, what if they reach out to someone very senior? What they can contribute, because they may have industry experience of 30 years and you only have 10. So how are you gonna add value to them? What should I say? And one thing I always share with students or mid-career professionals is, by making them feel good of asking them advice respectfully, you actually already add value, because for those people, when they reach to that level, they want to give back normally. They want to share their knowledge. They want to share their advice. And sometimes you never know. I've heard a lot of senior people when they're in reverse mentoring, they learn so much from their mentees as well, because you never know. You know about the industry trends. You know about the technology. You know about social media. Maybe they don't know, but they want to build their presence on social media. This is something that you can share. So I think it really goes back to do your research. For those people you want to reach out to, I'm pretty sure, they're veteran in their industry. They probably have a lot of media presence. There's tons of information about them on social media, or they already have Facebook account, Instagram account that you can kind of stalk and get more information and build relationships and your connections from there. Even you write them a message.
Yeah, that's great. So Andrew is asking, do you have any specific tips for those wishing to change career paths? How can you show a good level of experience and competency in a new field when most of your experience or history is in a different field?
That's a good question, which I've shared a lot in other webinars. So what I see the talent market in the future is going to move into skills market. You're valued not by the time you put in, but you're valued by the skill set you have. So what I'm trying to say is, if Andrew, you want to switch to a new industry, you really need to figure out what are the gaps you have in terms of your skill set. So let's say you are a software developer and you want to move into a blockchain developer. So what are the skill sets that you're lacking? What do you have and what you don't have? So you have a list of the skills that you don't have, and make sure starting from today you you upskill yourself by relearn, retrain, and reskill. So I personally really, that's the only way, because I mentioned during one of the slides, you know, the keywords tricks, the tips that I share, because a lot of jobs of the future, you know, obviously they will put a lot of keywords on their JD. So you need to ask yourself, you know, very brutally, right? Do I have those skill sets? So if you don't have, how am I going to apply for those jobs? The answer is very simple. You need to acquire those skills so that you are suitable for those roles. And there's a lot of amazing courses on General Assembly you can go after.
I appreciate the plug. So how do we maintain long-term connection after the first meeting as we move forward?
I think it's very important that you maintain, again, I mentioned it multiple times, you know, be very respectful of their time, be polite, be direct, be thankful, show your gratitude. Because first meeting, it just a start, right? You want to be a long-term relationship, you know. Second meeting, you know, 10 meetings, 50 meetings, is a long game. So don't go all in at once because you want to get everything into one meeting, right? Don't do it. But instead, you know, strategize it. And at the end of the first meeting, ask your mentor, hey, when can we speak again? I really love what you've shared with me. I've learned so much. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Can we set up a time next month so we can chat again and I can get more information and your insights? So I'm pretty sure they would say yes. And normally, if you're meeting them face to face or on the call, it's very hard for them to say no as well. So you lock them in during the call, and then you send them a calendar invite right after.
That's great. So Olivia is asking, hey Sabrina, do you have any tips on content ideas? You mentioned about writing on an area of expertise, but I specialize in data analytics, and I'm worried that my sharing will be too niched for audiences or too specific about my company. Should I write on topics that are more general, like soft skills? What are your thoughts?
I think write what you know and what you're passionate about. And at the end of the day, people who share the same passion, they will love your article, and you can slowly build your audience. You can slowly build from there. And I have to say, data analytics is such a hot topic, and please share as much as I can. I want to read it. It's nothing technical. It's so universal. Any single person, no matter what you do, you have to know how to analyze data, make sense of it, and present it in front of your management so that you can create a story and create a business case. So there's so many things you can write. And I remember, there's a website where you can generate ideas. I forgot the link of the website, where you can just put data analytics, and they will have all these strings to help you to create content. So on top of my head, you can write about how can I use data to convince my manager to say yes. So I think that will be a very hot topic. And also you can do a lot of research to find out what's the hottest topic about data analytics at the moment. Yeah, please write more and let me know.
Great. I'm just going to echo that because I think that reading about something that somebody's passionate about, even if it's not I'm not passionate about, is way more entertaining than reading like a surface level generic something about soft skills. So yeah, keep writing those, Olivia. Okay, there's a couple questions here that refer to this, so I'm going to lump it into one, but advice for people that are introverted. Do you have any tips for that? A few people have asked something around that. This person specifically is asking, very introverted and not quite sure how to make and build connections. How would you manage the anxiety and how to take the first step?
I think sometimes we also need to reframe introverted as well. Actually, introverted is a good thing. I'm introverted, and everyone is surprised to hear that. Introverted sometimes, can mean we actually enjoy deep, long conversations rather than being, socializing everywhere. So introverted is a good thing because I personally believe you have great listening skills, and that's the skills you have for the future as well, listening skills. I think how to calm your nerves. I think for me, how I calm my nerves, I'm nervous every time I speak on stage or speak to my clients or, speak to investors. I'm nervous every time. So one trick that I can share is I do push-ups. So I do 10, 20 push-ups before I go on stage to really calm my nerves. And and I have to say different people, they have different methods. And some of them that they use, which works for them really well, is power poses. So you can Google power poses by TED Talk, which they teach you before you speak, before you go on stage, before you speak to a client or any important meeting, do a pose like this. Then it generates certain chemicals in your body and makes you feel more relaxed and makes you feel more energized and confident to have the conversation. And I think, the main thing is you need to know your why you want to do it. Because every time you get knocked back down, I got a lot of rejection when I reach out to people, of course. But when people reject you or someone that you really admire, you really respect, and they just ignore your message. You follow up with them, they did not respond at all. Of course, I felt, I would feel upset, but know your goal, know your purpose. Hey, what you want to achieve. And that one person, there will be many more, they will want to speak to you. As I mentioned, it's a numbers game.
How would you suggest managing multiple social profiles of oneself? So for example, there's networking on Meetup, but then there's LinkedIn, and they might be very different, the profiles you have. How would you approach this?
So as how I craft my business and my strategies, right? You need to be very clear who are your audience, what type of network you actually want to build. Is it a professional network? So if it's a professional network, LinkedIn is #1 platform to go. And if you want to build social network, let's say you're new in town, you switch industry, or even you switch industry, sorry, it's a professional network. But if you want to build a social network, Facebook and Instagram will be a place to be. So know your audience, know what type of persona or users you actually want to build your connection with. I know it's very daunting because there's so many resources out there, but isn't it a great thing? Because there's so many resources out there and it's free for you to build your network. I think it's amazing. So utilize that. And I know we don't have a lot of time. So as I mentioned, there's Meetup, but then there's also professional Meetup groups as well. So, pick and choose wisely.
I know you kind of already answered this question earlier, but it's come up a few other times, so I'm just gonna say it again so that you can repeat your answer. This is a great jumping off point. However, for students or early career professionals with a smaller network, how can we add value to people we hope to network and build connections with? So I think there's a lot of questions on what, if they're not asking for a job and you're trying to bring value, what kind of value could you be bringing?
I want to say don't downplay yourself. Even your students, you have a lot of skill sets that you don't know you can provide. For example, I recently hired an intern. She's probably one of the participants as well. She didn't study, any types of marketing. That's not her background, but I like her attitude. She's willing to learn. She's willing to really give. She's not talking about, okay, you have to give me how much, then I'll contribute to this much. No, she's willing to learn, willing to contribute. So as a student, I'm very willing to train her. So what I'm trying to say is, even as a student, you think you have nothing to give, but that's not the case. So really depends. I think as long as you're willing to give, you're open mind, with an open question, hey, please let me know if there's anything I can offer my help or anything I can assist with. For example, let's say your hobby is video editing skills. That's not your major, but you can offer someone like me to help me out. Then I'll be much appreciated because I have a lot of things that I need to get it done, but I don't have time or people to do it. So don't downplay yourself. Everyone has something to offer on the table. You just need to offer it and, yeah.
And so this is Nadia's asking almost the flip version of this question. Do you have any tips on how you can demonstrate your value and your achievements in your LinkedIn profile without coming across as smug or cliched?
Good question, by the way. I, I would say, okay, one thing, before I post, all my, I'm on magazine, I speak on this panel, whatever, I'm being featured on magazine, I also have self-doubt. Am I overselling myself? Is it very cliche, all of that. But you know what? Be unapologetic. You have to. This is the social media world, and there's millions of people trying to get in front of you. So you have to show what you have and what you can do. So be unapologetic. I don't know. Okay, different people will think it differently. People think my LinkedIn profile, oh my God, so salesy, and But hey, that's my achievement. I'm gonna show it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so it might not always be possible to mention that you're looking for opportunities in LinkedIn because your bosses are a part of your network. In this case, how can you catch the attention of recruiters?
Mm. I I think I have to say maybe 2 years ago, I would still hear people, oh, I don't want my LinkedIn network because I don't want my boss to know. I don't want a CEO know that I'm looking for a job. But to be fair, in the past 2 years, LinkedIn has transformed into a social media platform. People go there to network. People go there to share their knowledge, share their insights. So having a LinkedIn account doesn't mean that you're looking for a job. And obviously, you don't want to change your picture to open to work or show that you're open for opportunities because it's very obvious. But I think you can still put up your achievement and what you do, your responsibilities under the experience section. It's very normal. It's how you're going to complete your profile. But how you can stand out in front of the recruiters, reach out to them directly. As a recruiter myself, it's our job to speak to as many candidates as possible so that we can identify the best candidates for our clients. So I can guarantee all recruiters would love to speak to you, all of you, if you reach out to them and have a conversation. So yeah, reach out directly and they will be more than happy to accept your invitation. Trust me.
Yeah, and I also I saw Sharon mention this in the chat, but I'm pretty sure LinkedIn has a open for job opportunities, but don't make this public. So then only recruiters can see that as well. So just in case you're interested, you can dig into that that part. But I like Sabrina's tip on reaching out to them yourself. That's probably better anyway. Okay, let's see. There was one question here about, okay, I can't find it, but it was something around looking in the eye of the camera. Do you have any tips on that when you're having a virtual meeting? To look someone in the eye is really to actually be looking somewhere else besides at them, right? Any tips around that?
Great question. It wasn't easy for me to practice as well. Because for me, I do hosting, I speak as well. So on our desktop, there's a lot of things we need to look at. We need to control. I'm sure Seema can agree with me on that. And at the beginning, it's weird because I'm looking at a dark hole. Like who's gonna look back at me? It's just strange, the whole experience. But I think it took me. So I've been practicing, 20 minutes a day. So just look at it and talk to them and pretend that they're someone that you know. And now I'm actually looking at the dark hole of the camera. I'm talking to you, but you don't know. It takes practice. And I think another tip that I would share at the beginning, I actually put a little sticker next to the camera, like a smiley face. So that actually would grab my attention to the stickers and smile, remind me to smile. So yeah, practice. You just have to practice, and then it becomes natural to you.
How do we create a personal brand if you have different expertise in different arenas and hope to continue this way without having to create two different profiles?
Again, I want to know what's your purpose. Are you looking for a job? Do you want to, brand yourself as a thought leader in different different areas, because it will be different of my advice, but obviously you can't share with me. So let's say you have different expertise. For example, if you're looking for a job, again, use the keywords tips that I share with you. Find the common keywords and transferable skills. Demonstrate your transferable skills. You have expertise. You have different expertise. Great, brilliant. I love it, and I'm sure companies in the future, they want diverse candidates with diverse skill sets. But as long as your diverse skill set can be transferable to the job, to the role that they're looking for, it's all good. Let's say leadership skills, negotiation skills, working well as a team, and many more.
And just to back up on that, I'm not sure if this is the same person, but somebody did say different personal brands for my day job and my sideline gig. So again, I'm not sure if it was the same person just clarifying that, or if somebody else asked a similar question, but I think that's what they mean by two different personas.
Nowadays, for some of the companies that I know, they welcome their employees to work side hustle, as long as it doesn't interfere their day job, because it actually contributes different skill sets to the job, and that's your passion as well. So I don't think you need to separate it. Just don't lie, be honest about what you do. And I think on LinkedIn, you can put either it's a part-time role or freelance or your permanent role. And I think under the your side hustle section, make sure of what you do, lay out what you do and the skills that you have developed and your achievement as well. And again, be very intentional. And again, if you're looking for a job, remember what are the keywords, what are the skill sets, and make sure that you put those skill sets of the job that you're looking for under your side hustle as well, because it counts. Let's say your day job is completely different than your side hustle. Your side hustle is the social media manager, and your day job is, I don't know, finance, right? For me, as a hiring manager, if I'm looking for a social media manager, I'm looking for, oh, she actually has those skills, or he or she has those skills. Even her day job is finance. But hey, as long as she has those skills, I'm more than happy to interview her.
As a recruiter, I'm assuming you might be receiving a lot of messages. What are the types of messages that catch your attention?
Message that shows they listen, they pay attention to what I do and who I am. It's not about bragging, right? It's not, oh, Sabrina, you're so great. It's not about that. It's about what they know, and because I can see how genuine you are, and whether you do your research or you appreciate what I do on my platform. So, but you also need to stay true yourself. If you can't really say too much or compliment too much, don't do it. But be very respectful, be very polite. Very appreciative of their time. I received message from candidates saying, "Hi Sabrina, I'm looking for a job. Can we speak for 20 minutes next Monday at 11 a.m.?" I was like, okay, straightforward. I'll check your profile, see if it will be right for any of the jobs that I'm looking for. No, you're not. Okay, I won't speak to you because you're not very nice. You're not very appreciative of my time. You don't even say, hope you're well, how are you? Thank you so much for your time in advance. None of that. You kind of take it for granted that we should speak to you. I think it's really, as I mentioned at the very beginning, right? Networking is a human experience. How would you speak to another human being?
What are your thoughts on sharing content or a point of view on LinkedIn? Sorry. What are your thoughts on sharing content or a point of view that can potentially be controversial? Would you avoid it or just go with it and put yourself out there with the risk of potentially turning off some people?
Again, you need to know your brand and what type of brand you want to build. If you want to be controversial, go for it. But is it the brand you want to build? Is it the brand that you want your future employers, your investors, your employee to see? So it's really up to you. For me, some people can say, the articles I write can be controversial because it's about women issues. Some people disagree with me, some people agree with me, but this is my passion. This is what all I'm about, and I'm going to stick to it, be true to it. So you need to know your brand, and everything you do online, people can trace it, people can see it. So be very mindful and intentional. But if you want to be controversial, by all means.
Do you have any tips on reaching out to someone that you've lost contact with, that you maybe connected with over a year ago, but then now you're trying to reconnect?
Oh, easy. Number one, reach out. Number two, we're all, under this situation, COVID, right? Just send a very warm message. Hey, Seema, how are you? How's everything? I hope you're doing well. We're all, living a very interesting time. And yeah, I wish you're okay, and let me know when you see this message, or get back to me. I would love to have a chat, love to reconnect again.
Okay, we're almost at time, but Jasmine asked this question, so I wanted to save it for the end. Why the name Half the Sky? Seems like there's a deeper meaning.
Jasmine, right? Great questions. I'm gonna remember you. So Half the Sky is actually from a very famous Chinese proverb, which is "Women hold up half the sky." So which means that men and women, we're equally capable to do whatever we want to achieve. And obviously, from what I see in the workplace for the past 15 years, women face a lot of unique challenges, and which is unfair. There's a lot of discrimination going on. And I, as a recruiter and as a woman, I witnessed so many. I got really frustrated. So I want to create this platform to, level the playing field for women, and at the same time, help the companies be a very diverse workforce for the future of work. So hence the name Half the Sky.
Awesome. And actually, I'm going to ask one last question. There was a couple, a lot of people on this call seem to be job searching. There's a few questions on there that we didn't get to about the job market and stuff like that. Of course, we talked a lot about how to reach out to people. Are there any resources you would recommend, whether they're blogs or podcasts, that you would recommend people to listen to if they're trying to look for a new job or think of another career?
I have to say there are tons of resources there. On Half the Sky, we create a lot of content as well. We have free events. We welcome men and women to join. And also, I think there's a great resources on LinkedIn. It's called LinkedIn Learning. A lot of great content there. It's very relevant. And also, sometimes really Google is your best friend. You type in something and there's tons of content out there that you can reference to. And I think sometimes for, job search tips, it's very personal, it's very subjective. You may like how I speak, what I share, but some people may not like it. So you really need to find the one that you can feel that you can build that connections with that person and you agree with what they say.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know we're over time now. So sorry to everyone who did ask questions and we didn't get to it, but hopefully that's a good way for you to link up with Sabrina, maybe on LinkedIn. And a huge thank you to Emily and the whole SWN network, and of course Half the Sky for partnering with us for this event. It's been really great and very meaningful. It's awesome, great tips that we learned, even myself as well. And sorry about my cat that was going back and forth, but I'll just let her say goodbye to you guys all. Have a great
co-host.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay safe, everybody. Take care.
Bye.